So let's continue this conversation with trial attorney and legal analyst Misty Marris. Misty, thank you for being here. So first, I think it's really important to highlight and outline the differences between adoption and conservatorship. Would you mind doing that for us quickly?
Absolutely. So adoption puts someone in the same position as a biological child. So from a legal perspective, it would be the same as somebody's born child. And that happens when somebody is below the age of 18, because legally, someone is an adult at the age of 18. However, a conservatorship, there are two different types. There's voluntary versus involuntary. Voluntary conservatorship, someone enters into, they would be 18 years old and competent to sign a contract, and that would give the conservator the ability to control either their person or their finances. Person might be medical treatment, day-to-day type issues in their life, assisting them with day-to-day with every single part of their day. Conservatorship of the financial component seems like what we have in this particular case. Then there's involuntary conservatorships, much like we saw play out in the Britney Spears case, which is someone who does not have the ability to take care of themselves on their own. So significant legal distinctions between these three types of legal statuses.
Definitely. And I appreciate you straightening that out for us. It makes the rest of this conversation make a whole lot more sense, because Oher is alleging the Tuis and their two children have made millions on the blind side while he received nothing. His petition is asking for a full accounting of the money the Tuis earned, plus paying him his share of the profit. So how likely, Misty, do you think that will happen?
I think it's extremely likely that the court will go back and look at what the finances were, what money was made, and do that accounting. The accounting doesn't necessarily mean that anything was improper. It's just for the court to understand how much money was made as part of Michael Oher's persona, use of his likeness in the movie with respect to the book, and determine whether or not that was properly distributed during the time of the conservatorship. Presumably, this was a voluntary conservatorship. He signed papers when he was 18. That's very, very different than an involuntary conservatorship.
Got it.
So it's likely that the court will look and see how those finances were spent.
That makes sense. So another allegation in this filing is that Oher does not remember signing a 2007 contract in which he gives away his life story for no payment to 20th Century Fox. Now, he also claims that no one explained the contract's implications to him as a young adult. Meanwhile, the Tuis were paid $1 million plus royalties. So does this stand in court? Those statements a bit conflicting. What are your thoughts?
So there's going to have to be an exploration with respect to each contract, because the first question is, was he competent to enter into a contract? So when he's 18, he is, but he's also under this conservatorship. So does that negate the 2007 contract? That's all going to have to be unraveled in the course of investigating what happened here. Now, there are arguments, and as you said, Kelly, that's a very good point, that he did not truly understand the context of the contract and what that meant with respect to the finances and how that would impact him for the rest of his life. There is a legal argument to be made with respect to that nulls and voids the contract. It is a difficult hurdle so long as somebody had the opportunity to review that contract. So a lot of very fact-specific information is needed to assess the legal viability of those claims.
Certainly, and we will see how this one plays out. Misty Marris, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.